What a good show. What a jolly good show upcoming here on In the Money Media. For some of you, it might just be a continuation of the show. This is another show, though, but like when the shows start kind of bleeding over one another, it does kind of feel the same. Let's just get rolling right into this Little Brown Jug live show where we're going to be joined for a little bit by man I was just talking to, and now I have to wear your hat. I just realized I'm hosting this thing after you were just hosting that thing being Horse Players Happy Hour, where we almost got a 14-1 shot home with Joel Rosario and Panache losing to a 20-1 shot. Story of my life. But you're PTF and you're hanging with us for the Jug.
I'm so happy to be here. And believe me, if you talk about wearing hats, if I had your hair, I wouldn't wear any hats at all.
That's sweet.
To be fair, though, and also to be fair about running second there, you did say back wheel. I mean, you can claim that one as a winner, no doubt about it. You also mentioned wheeling in the try in third. If you'd only said wheeling in the try in second and third, then we could really give you some credit. Did you see what that try paid? I didn't notice.
It was $600 for 50 cents. And the thing is, when I say wheel for third, I also do mean second. But I understand what you mean. I'm not going
to let you claim that one.
No, I'm not looking to either. I wasn't even looking to claim the exacta. In all honesty, I was ready to declare myself a loser. But let's bring two other winners in for this show. My cohort from the Harness Players podcast, Mike Prebosi, able to show up here, as is Edison Hatter, after he just got off a plane, landed in New York City. And that's your office at Yonkers?
I am. I've made it here. Traffic was obviously not spectacular as usual from New York City from JFK Airport, but and I just sprinted upstairs. By the way, there were 5 different flights of stairs to get up to the announcer's booth at Yonkers if you don't take the elevator. And like these stairs, everybody here agrees, put you out of breath more than any other stairs anywhere. So I'm out of breath. Just go to Mike.
JFK, as they say, great president, terrible airport. The first elimination of the Jug went when we were on Horseplayer Happy Hour, and right now the second is going to post. Now, like we did on Horseplayer Happy Hour, this is just going to kind of be we watch with you, unless for some reason we want to call these races.
Right, you called it so well. We want to hear you call some more races.
That was good.
I mean, we can do that.
You should do that.
Okay, fine. Well, they're going to the gate for the second elimination.
I'll do the next two, Ray, but I'm out of breath here. You got this one.
That's fine. I got to figure out who the hell these horses are, because they're in the stretch for the second elimination of the Little Brown. I'm out of breath too. There they go. Solid character from the center, blasting for the lead. Captain's quarters pushing through the pylons to protect position into the first turn. Captain's quarters seizes the helm. Total Stranger in the pocket second. Outside Solid Character Park third. Off stride in the back goes Play Action Pass. As they make their way to the first quarter, Legendary Hanover races in fourth. Rose Run Zane fifth. Sixth comes Sweet Beach Life. And again, Play Action Pass after the break and stride in the rear. 26 seconds. The blaster around the turn. Captain's quarters under a snug hold leads by a length. Solid Character pressing on the outside as Total Stranger saves ground, gets the win cut for him in third. Legendary Hanover at 1-5. Perched on cover now for McDonald, only 2 lengths off this leader by the half. Wowzers, 54 seconds, 28 seconds, slight breather for Captain's quarters as he's speeding down the highway. Solid Characters starting to hit the fumes as Legendary Hanover swings 3 wide. Total Stranger waits for room from the pocket as now they're 3/4 bound in behind Captain's quarters, holding the lead a length and a half. Total Stranger chasing from second. Legendary Hanover now hitting the accelerator. 3/4 up. 121 and 3. What? around the final turn. Captain's Quarters still in front is now Rose Run. Zane has room to slip through the inside. Total Stranger pop pocket. Legendary Hanover not advancing as they swing to the top of the stretch. Captain's Quarters trying to go all the way. Rose Run. Zane needs a way. Total Stranger to the outside, making gains as Captain's Quarters clings to the lead and to the line. Captain's Quarters wins from Total Stranger, tight for third. Wow, that was a crawl. 151-3.
Wow, for that good of horses to go 30 seconds in the last quarter says something. Ray, for the record, my TV is like 10 seconds ahead of yours, so if I'm calling the next, you're going to get like a 10-second ahead preview of what's going to happen. But good job as usual.
I was way behind. I'm like 20 seconds behind. I don't know.
It's funny. We're all at different stages. To be fair, I'm here at Yonkers, got it on TV in the background, so we're getting, the direct feed. We're simulcasting it downstairs to our patrons, so mine's probably the furthest ahead and probably closest. But
once again, showing off as you tended to.
Humble brag.
So Ray, I'm gonna sound like Pete Fornatale on the last show you guys did, but please explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old because I've already had that Mike and Kevin explain it to me. But to be fair, I totally missed the first elimination. I'm sure most of our audience may have as well, but. Nijinsky did not make the final. I know that much. Didn't break or anything, right? Just no good. Legendary Hanover here. Gosh, he kind of that horse that was parked was outside. James did have to move a little bit to get in that 3-path, but then he kind of stalled in that 3-path for a while. He's going to draw post 5 or post 6 in the final.
They walked home too.
This has not been the day Anthony Beaton's been looking for. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, off a trip like that, Legendary Hanover was supposed to have way more than he did. But at the same time, it looked like up the backside, he got a little crooked, and so it's tough to tell how much maybe the horse was fighting James or how much the horse just didn't have it, because Total Stranger had enough room to be able to pull pocket, and so if James is in the 3-path and trying to cross over, then maybe that just caused a little bit of traffic confusion. But I have no explanation for Nijinsky. When we were on Horse Player Happy Hour and I mentioned it to Pete, that was just because I looked up and I was like, who is that in front? And I went, that looks like Louis Waugh, and I realized that's not Louis Waugh. That's Todd McCarthy. Oh, that's Captain Albano. That's as much as I know about the first elimination.
So whoever's got it, just for my purposes, because I'm writing it down, and probably our audience wants to know too. So Captain's Quarters will draw for post 1 or 2, along with Captain Albano, correct? Total Stranger will draw post 3 or 4. Who was second in the first elim?
Don't know, but I should also mention that Total Stranger at 37-1. Pete, did I not say he was an exotic shot in that second elimination?
You were on fire, my friend.
Captain Luke was second in the first elim. Mirage Hanover third.
Mirage Hanover and Sweet Beat, or Legendary Hanover and Mirage Hanover will draw for 5 and 6, and then Sweet Beach Life and
Hunting for Chrome.
And Hunting for Chrome. So there's the 2 Alexander horses both making the final as well for Matt Kakaley, who told me yesterday in the interview that I guess we're going to maybe get to those, Ray, but Matt Kakaley said that he was leaning towards Sweet Beach Life in this final, so that might already be a clue where he's going. He's got post 7 or 8, though, either way.
This is going to be a wild final.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday, too, with the Jugette. Well, for one, the Jugette also a weird race, just given My Girl EJ breaking the hobble to the half, but they both went 49 in their limbs. The final went, I think, in like 51. So, of course, that race went slower because Dave Miller was able to shut things down since there was all that confusion behind him. But you have to wonder how hard are these horses going to be able to go in the second heat, especially Captain's Quarters going a 30-second final quarter off a race like that. Like, is that going to actually take some wind out of his sails? And similarly for some of the others inside of that race who couldn't go by him.
So I'm always curious.
How much insta capping do you do based on what you've just seen as opposed to like the body of work, body of form? That's one thing as a flat player is very hard for me to understand.
Well, if I'll answer this first, I just kind of observe trips and stuff like that. And then I go into the next race on a presumption that it's almost like a new day kind of, because these horses do have a way to get reacclimated, settled, and are able then to go another strong or even like consistent race with their form about an hour and a half later. But then, of course, there are factors like inside of this race where that super fast pace you kind of keep in the back of your head on some horses is maybe then they might not have that extra kind of punch later in the afternoon, but that's where then I'm watching in like the warm up and the post parade to see is the horse particularly spry on his feet, or does it seem like he's kind of just carrying himself over, trying to read into those body language types of things to figure out how much that first heat might have actually impacted them. That's at least my answer. If anyone else has an answer.
It's great.
Oh, I guess I'll answer.
I'm more thinking like, okay, did these horses handle the track? Who had the tougher trips? I'm not really crazy about horses that had tough trips in the eliminations. I'm more interested in horses that maybe had easier trips and maybe were saving something for the final. I'm not sure about Captain's Quarters coming off that elimination. I mean, especially that heat walking home there. Legendary Hanover didn't seem to handle the track, didn't seem to handle the different configurations. So I do think this could set up to be a wild final here. Captain Albano, I think he's going to be a big favorite here in this final. Just looking at the first two. I mean, he looks very obvious at this point.
We'll touch a bit more on that first elimination since we just saw the second one here. But meantime, we should add a fifth member of the panel, Mr. Kevin Plaucha, our resident intern here at In the Money Media, which means we get to make him do whatever we don't want to do. And Kevin is how you doing? I'm just gonna say how you doing. I don't have any other introduction, do you?
I'm doing good. Also currently looking at this Woodbine third race because I'm in the free contest jockey contest today.
Oh, there's
good
contest
plug.
jockey.
We like that. We like the contest jockey plug. You might as well be multitasking. Have those screens up. Kevin, you're young. Turn your device so we get rid of those ugly lines at the side and we can see you a little bit. You're supposed to know these things.
Oh, wait, that didn't work. That's the wrong one.
That's even worse. There it is. That's so much better framing.
We get to see his wonderful dorm.
I was going to slip out and do it myself, but I forgot Kevin's our intern. Kevin, I would like a coffee, one cream, two sugar, please.
It's always coffee. It's always coffee.
You don't even drink coffee.
I've been on a plane all day. I've been in Delaware, Ohio. I've been everywhere. I didn't know whether I was in the state of Delaware, the state of Ohio. I didn't know where I was.
That does get. I'll be honest. That does get confusing for me. Even though I never leave my state, I still get confused.
Have we said that on the show, by the way? Because I'm sure we'll reference it in passing. So this race takes place, if anybody wants the 5-year-old explanation, at the Delaware County Fair. Delaware County is a county in Ohio, 45 minutes north of Columbus, and this race is held in the city of Delaware, the state of Ohio.
And it's inside of North America, which is also just called America, not to be confused then with South America, which is never called America. It's just called South America.
Or North America and Canada.
That's true. We are also Canada, except I'm not Canada. I'm America. That's north of us. North of America is Canada on North America.
Oh, never.
Ray, please give us the full explanation from, I forget what play it's from. There's a play where it's like, my name is whatever on this street from this city, whatever. Are we literate people? Come on, something.
Well, no, I do have memorized a line from The Court Jester, the movie The Court Jester, which is that the pellet with the poisons in the vessel and the pestle and the chalice and the palace has the brood. That is true. I know that off the top of my head.
There's a thing. There's a gimmick in Portrait of the Artist as a young man by Joyce Edison that has. It's like the character like doing the address and just continuing to pull back, where it gets past all the local geography to Earth, the Milky Way, the universe, and such and such. It's
a great book.
I don't think so.
That was a transformative book for me.
I will find it. I'm going to continue to Google it, and I will.
You can find it at most libraries. His name is James Joyce. He transformed English literature in his era.
I'm sure this is what the people are here for. The 187 watching want to hear this nonsense when we're supposed to be talking about the races.
There's a racing tie-in here, Mikey P. Because did you know that one of the central uniting events, not in Portrait of the Artist of a Young Man, but its sequel, Ulysses, featuring the same character, Stephen Dedalus. It all takes place on one day. The whole novel takes place on one day in 1904, June 16th, 1904. Happened to be the Gold Cup Day at Ascot, and the race keeps coming up throughout the thing. So there is a Joyce and horse racing tie-in. But to be fair, it's not standard bred, so I'll just go back to my corner.
And much like some big horse racing days too, Ulysses is long as hell. I have a hardcover copy of it. It's like 800 pages.
All right, I'll make Mike even happier. We'll go back to last night's important discussions. Kevin, you were listening last night. What's your favorite fast food?
Oh God.
Don't do this to the
Hey, give me Wendy's. It's solid. I think
It's
just
so mid. It's the fries have gone downhill
I
over
know.
the years.
I'm not the Chick-fil-A fan. I'll help Ray out.
I
Pete,
don't. Do we count
we'll take-
Shake Shack? I'll go Shake Shack if it counts.
Pete, the background on
Shake
this
Shack
is
is
I
nice.
woke up at 6 a.m. yesterday in New York. I flew to the Jug. I got one little plate of lunch at 2 p.m. and it's like 10:30, and we're doing our Hoosier Park roundtable for tomorrow night, which shameless plug, go check that out for In the Money Media here. And I was getting ready to eat and was hungry, so it's like, okay, well, give us your final thoughts and what's your favorite fast food? It is Our Town, by the way. That is the play I'm looking for.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm going to see Our Town on Sunday. There's a new Broadway production with Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory,
Oh.
of which Perrin is a huge fan. So I'm using that lure to take her into a play that no doubt she'll find boring. But hey, I get to see it.
All right, Ray. Ray, I'll bring us.
Lois Len in the upcoming third at Woodbine.
No, her name is Lois Lane. She's in love with Superman.
I'm pulling up the Woodbine race. How are you doing, Kevin, in the contest jockey event? Have you been
It hasn't
enjoying
started
the
yet.
games you've played over? It hasn't started yet. People can still get involved.
Yeah, I was all over Blazing Bow in the finale of that Assiniboia contest. I got all the way back up to first after having like $80 left, and then I was all in on Blazing Bow. Lost that thrilling three-way photo, but for a free contest like that, I mean, it was a ton of fun. It was a perfect way to spend a Tuesday night when I had nothing else to do. I mean, even when I have other stuff to do, I'm obviously going to be playing because they're free and they're fun, and they keep me invested in thoroughbred racing because as most of you know, I watch a lot of harness racing, so it's
Love
nice.
it.
Well, Fraser contest tomorrow night. So free Fraser contest every Friday of the meet. So jump in, and there might be some other tracks joining us very soon. I think I've talked to a few people about this thing, so stay tuned for some bigger tracks joining on the harness side soon on Contest Jockey.
If folks
Kevin
don't
certainly
know,
will.
don't we need to change the name for the harness side, though? Don't we need to have a partner side contest driver or something?
Well, we thought about that, but right now we're still under the same Contest Jockey umbrella. Mike and I have been talking about that pretty frequently, so we'll see what happens with that.
For those that don't know, contest jockey, it's basically poker, no limit hold'em meets horse racing. And for right now, everything on there is free. So loads of free rolls, and it's just fun. A different format. It's like deceptively simple. One horse to win in every race, escalating minimums like blinds at a poker tournament, and you can go all in at any time. I wonder how many people. Well, this is the first race, Kevin, of the contest here, Woodbine 3?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got 2 minutes if you want to go over there. You might as well, because it's a live contest format. It's not pick and pray. So you just have to, make a minimum on this race and then join throughout the night. Why not? It's free. Do it. Contestjockey.com. I wonder if we'll see some all-ins on this favorite. Is a favorite live? I know we're not supposed to be talking about Woodbine, but just, I can't help myself. Is a favorite live here, Kevin? You looked at the race, and I want to know so I can bet.
Yeah, favorites live, but the 5 gets Kimura. So I just took a
Oh,
shot.
thoroughbred, of course.
You invited me, and Kevin, what did you
Horse
expect?
player happy hour is still going on, apparently.
No,
All right, I'll
Kevin,
I'll
Kevin's
leave in 5
also going to
minutes,
be
I
playing.
swear.
Kevin's going to be playing Mohawk later,
Yes.
and they race tonight.
yes.
And I was like, why is Mohawk racing now? It's jug time.
Ray, don't worry here. I'll bring us back to our correct topic. First of all, the inquiry's been posted for the
I
last
was
5
just
minutes.
about to mention. That's why we're vamping. There's an inquiry.
And we're showing the replay right now on the live streams. We're gonna see if we're gonna get a look here. They're looking at something coming around the final turn. I'm admittedly, once I say what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna mute myself, and I've got the live stream up on my computer, so I'm gonna rewind it and listen.
My guess is they might be looking at
Is
Dan
it-
Noble coming out.
It almost has
Yeah. But what I will add, regardless, they've taken it down. The numbers haven't changed, so I think we got no change.
Might have been general then.
So what I will say is I went back and looked up some times here, and I think, at least for me, I think there's gonna be a pretty heavy looking towards this first elimination more than the second. The times for the first elimination: 26-3, 54-3, 122, 149-2. That's not that dissimilar early on from 26 flat, 54. I mean, yeah, it's a bit faster, but 121-3. 151-3. I mean, that's a really slow back half of the mile for these kind of horses. we've already discussed, did Legendary get over this track well? We already saw one Anthony Beaton, of course, with the big 1-2 punch there, not do well. So I think I'm against Legendary. He probably still takes some money out there from post 5 or post 6, though. Probably not a lot of love for the Alexander duo drawing the outside post. Captain Luke, I've always thought Scott Zeron always sounded high on this horse. If, I don't know, maybe somebody interviewed Scott Zeron, he probably had nice things to say about Captain Luke.
Maybe someone thought Captain Luke was going to win the Meadowlands Pace and ended up finishing third at like 30-1, but that's another conversation.
So he'll probably take some money. Captain's Quarters isn't a limb winner and an inside post. He probably takes money, but honestly, the way he raced that on the front, I really wouldn't necessarily want to be on him. So I think it is Albano's race. I think he is a fairly significant favorite. I don't know if I would have said it going into the day. But, I think Todd McCarthy said he wasn't too concerned about that break at Pocono, and I guess for now, for sure, we've seen a race after, so.
I mean, you all know how I've always felt about Captain Albano. Ever since we watched him in the North America Cup and he got that bottled trip and then never got any room and he looked like he was going to go past the sound barrier and burst into flames. I always knew he was a good horse. But then you all, I'm talking to every one of you on the panel, you all didn't believe me.
He excels on the small tracks. I mean, his small track form is much better than some of the top ones on the bigger tracks, and that's just a fact. So he gets over the smaller tracks better. He's able to use the speed and dominate races that way, and maybe that just suits him better. And as a 2-year-old, that was very evident. His big track races weren't nearly what they were on the small track, and it's proven the same at 3. And you look at the races he's won, and the Adios was a big win for him. Look how he just got over the Delaware surface. He excels over the smaller tracks. That's just the way it is.
And he probably is going to be the favorite. I don't know how they really bet anyone out of that. The only horse I could
Legendary might get bet again. I mean,
because he is Legendary Hanover. I think the only horse I'd want to bet out of that second elim though is Sweet Beach Life. Because he's probably going to be a price. He was
sell me on him,
right? and it looked like what was going on around the turn there too, when everyone was kind of pushing wide. Kakaley got the bad brunt of it, and so maybe that kind of disheartened his horse a bit as we lost PTF, who may just silently be dipping from the stream, which is it's okay if he is. It was nice for him to stop by for the Little Brown Jug show, and this continuing me giving out long shots who don't win but get close enough to do something. We're now how many minutes away until the next?
Yeah, has anyone actually
3?
All right, we are 3 away, and I will give you a very scientific answer that they just said on the broadcast. They was a general inquiry around the final turn to figure out how Austin got where he got.
I think that's a fair reason to have an inquiry. I also wondering.
Now I'm watching the replay in the background. Where is Austin at this stage? They're just past 3/4. Was he?
Yeah, he hits like 2 pylons by the looks of it.
Oh, he finishes 5th. Oh, he's the one on the ends. He's the one who squeezes through the inside, right?
I don't know how he got there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's gotta hurt though. Imagine having the seas open like and fighting for that position, and then you just miss the final. I would be very sad.
By the way, if anybody was watching earlier today, there was an inquiry in an earlier race. Actually, first and foremost, I was up visiting the judges yesterday.
Back. Welcome back, PTF.
Sorry, technical difficulties, but I wanted to come back at least, if only to say goodbye. But as you were.
I talked to the judges yesterday, visited them up in their booth, and offered my deep condolences. By the way, Ray, I already hear you yelling at me. Don't worry, I'm also from the afterlife. Whatever you said earlier, but I will close the curtain.
I knew you were haunting me in some capacity.
But I was up with the judges yesterday, and man, I offered them my condolences. I mean, I don't know about you all, even on this panel, or anybody else listening, but I obviously watch every race in Delaware every year. I watch all 5 days, all 20 races a day. There's been a lot of long inquiries this year. There was one yesterday where a horse interfered with the horse behind him, so therefore the horse that was interfered with was declared a non-starter, but he finished third, so he gets third place money. Yeah. And then the horse that interfered with that horse is allowed to stay up because the horse he interfered with was a non-starter, so therefore he didn't interfere with anybody in the race. So I was up right after that race, and the judges were like, sweating bullets, and they had been through it all week, and now they've had 2 more inquiries today, and they had a long one earlier today as well, a 10-1 shot, the longest shot in that 4-horse field, broke clearly for like 4 strides to the top of the stretch, and somehow got through at the inside and won anyway. So they have had a long week for the judges. So let's pray for their sake that these last 3 races are easy.
Yeah, no, that inquiry you were talking about from yesterday, that's like a founding father moment because they're just like, the rules don't exist here and we got to write the Constitution on what the hell we do in a situation like this. Because I've never seen that happen either. I remember overhearing it. I was like, the horse got DQ'd and I missed that the horse got the purse money. Because at first then I was, the rare time as a bettor, I'm like concerned about what purse distribution is going to be. I'm going, wait, but he finished third. Shouldn't he get the purse money too? And at the very least, that is a good thing because if you overcome that type of stuff and you still get a check, you should get the check. They shouldn't take that from you.
So I don't know, Pete, I know you said you might have to slip out soon, but before you slip out, we should at least give a shout out. We've got one of the, I was out there yesterday in site, got some interviews that we'll go over here in the next hour or so and we'll talk about, but we've also got somebody on the team out there today. Drew Coatney dropped off. By the way, have you ever been to his house before? Beautiful house, Columbus. That's a beautiful neighborhood he lives in. Fantastic.
No, that's awesome.
Met his child. I think he's got a second on the way, too.
Indeed. We were trying to get Drew, former Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge champion, on the show tonight, but we were explaining about the cell tower situation in Delaware County out there in Ohio. It could be better. We'll say that. But yeah, wonderful that you were able to hook Drew up with that, and hopefully he's out there doing some good work for us. That would be cool. And I should say, who we should give some love to before we get out of here? If anybody listening is interested in getting more involved in racing, whether it's on the harness side or the thoroughbred side, a whole bunch of us are going to be out at the Global Symposium on Racing in Tucson, Arizona, which is just the best networking event. And you can join us. I think it's just racingsymposium.com to buy tickets. But if you're serious about getting involved in the racing industry, this is a can't miss event. You've been how many times now, Edison?
Oh gosh, you and I have been out there. This will be
2 or 3 years,
3 or 4. I don't know, 3, I think.
And then Mike, you went last year for the first time. And I mean, am I overselling it, or is it? It's kind of it very much of an industry networking event. Like as a fan, I don't know that you need to go, but as somebody who wants to be involved in the industry, I would put it as a must. What do you think, Mike?
Absolutely fantastic time I had at the symposium last year. Got to meet a lot of people that you know the names and you kind of get to be able to put some faces, and then people get to know you also. So we're putting out a lot of the work that we've done the past several years, and people know of me, but they don't know me, and that was a big thing for me. And it was for me to be able to develop my relationship with you at that time was huge, because we've seen what that's turned into this year. As far as my involvement within the money. So, I mean, that's the biggest testimonial that I can give. I mean, being able to go on that trip and hang out with you guys, it certainly has opened plenty of doors for me. So I can't say enough about it.
I also hear that Tuesday is taco night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're going to do you're going to do 2 taco tours this year, I hear. So if you are going and you know us, there's a chance we can sneak you on the taco bus. Let us know. InTheMoneyPodcast.com, the contact page there gets you right to my personal email. But it's been a terrific experience. I'm looking forward to doing it again. The tacos are absolutely a highlight. But yeah, that opportunity to meet people. The presentations are great. Great to meet the students, see a little bit of the future of the game. I mean, this event has been brought back in a big way. And yeah, come hang out with us. Eat some tacos. It'll be a blast.
I was going to say, some places are like lecture and drinks. I know many people hear lectures. I hate learning. But from what I've gathered about the symposium, it's drinks. And also there's some lectures happening.
A lot of meetings. There are people who don't go to one thing. We won't name names, but certain clients of ours posted up basically in the hotel bar, just taking meeting after meeting. So yeah, there's definitely a fun element to it. And best of all, no homework.
Oh, Kevin hates homework too. He's probably avoiding homework right now, like the plague.
You see, Pete, you had no homework because you didn't stay with Mike and I. Mike got all sorts of homework from me every single. God, is the Bengals going to go over 26.5 points? Wait. If they score the touchdown here and then the field goal here and then, right, we got to prepare for tomorrow morning. No. Field goal here, we're good, right? But touchdown's no good.
Oh my God. In truth, the various sales leads are a lot of homework, but not. I mean, it plays out over the course of a year, so it's not so bad. Boys, I have one more video to record and a family upstairs that's getting peckish. So you should probably bid me adieu and get down to the more serious business of the evening. But I'll have the jug on in the background. Really appreciated getting to be part of your act tonight. Really a great pleasure.
And I hope that your dinner with your family, Pete, is as pleasurable as it is hanging out with 4 other men, one of them your age.
No, nobody is my age here. You're all youngins. I'm the old man by far, which is why I still can't believe I had to tell Kevin to turn his camera. I got to feel smart for a second there. So that
and also you're having 6 p.m. dinner. Old man dinner is 4 p.m. That was my dinner. It's 4 p.m. at 25.
We do have the 6th grader, so you got to get her on the schedule to get to see. You know how it is.
Right.
We had a 9 o'clock dinner last night for our anniversary.
Ooh, okay. That's nice. You can light a candle for that.
Back to business tonight, though.
All right. Well, enjoy that while we'll enjoy running your ship.
Just keep it off the rocks. Keep it off the rocks.
Trust me, I saw what they did to the Titanic. I refuse to let that happen. Here. So we got the 19th race coming up as we're in now the idle part between heats, though the heat.
Oh, and Ray, I texted this to you, and I don't think you caught it when you were talking to them. So the official rule is they have to wait at least 1 hour between the last elim and the final. And to be fair, they normally stick pretty good to that, so they always slip the 2 races in between here. Which, there's always good gambling opportunities here, but yeah, I think they'll be there. But look, Ray,
I was going to say, I can come to you when I need to know the rules. When I need the most nerd stuff, I go to Edison Hatter to figure that out.
And look, I know you, Ray, are so busy. To the gate. You were busy giving us money at Aqueduct. You were busy, and Mike only looks at the jug. Kevin's the one who's going to give us a winner here in the 19th, and he's going to give us probably the 9 horse because he's really, really just a huge, huge fan of those second-tier horses, right?
No, I like accuracy by volume to take another step forward. I don't think Aaron's going to take any prisoners. I'm against the 1. Go.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
You said that as fast as you needed to punch
impressive.
that. Are you calling this
approaching the starting gate? Okay, it's post time. All right, we're off and pacing. I'm going to call off the computer monitor, I guess. There goes accuracy by volume right out there to the lead for Kevin. Down at the inside, odds on Valhalla. Valhalla Golf Club, home of the 2024 PGA Championship. In place 3rd is Captain Jenna, who apparently we are not on for Kevin Plotzer there. Next to the inside is Mr. McDragon, followed by Fearless Delight. Then it is Lather Up Athens. It was a very good year. Second to last is B-Day, fond of dancing, and somebody is down inside of the pylons.
Accuracy by volume, bro.
Thank you.
Kevin's
this is such
horse
a bad broke. Odds on Valhalla. To be fair, I'm staring at a very tiny screen. Odds on Valhalla has the lead. So that's Captain Jenna then that has the pocket because the graphics here on TV are wrong. Mr. McDragon is 3rd. Here's Lather Up Athens to the outside of Fearless Delight, who's going to be locked down as they come down here to the half mile. It is odds on Valhalla, who went off as the second choice at 8-5, is past the half in 57-4. On the outside, Lather Up Athens has gone a long way first up, but is within 3/4 of the length of the lead. Locked to the inside is a Captain Jenna, which I believe that's a driver change. That is Yannick on there, right? That's not getting caught.
Yes, that is Yannick.
From 4th, it is Mr. McDragon, who is gapping a couple of lengths. Up on the outside, it was a very good year. Next to the inside, Fearless Delight, followed by B-Day, Fonda Dancing, and Accuracy by Volume is off of our screen, past 3/4 in 1:25-3. Far turn final time. Odds on Valhalla is confronted by Lather Up Athens, who's under urging, but trying to continue to move forward. Captain Jenna still seems to be traveling pretty well there from the pocket for Yannick. Gonna have to look for racing room, though. Mr. McDragon for the Buckeye is coming from 4th as they turn for home. Odds on Valhalla in front. Captain Jenna is going to try to squeeze through and split horses here. Down the far outside, Mr. McDragon. Odds on Valhalla is still there. It is odds on Valhalla. 154.
This time,
Maybe
I was
5
seconds ahead of you this time, Edison. I pulled up the ADW feed.
Because the feed that the Jug sends out, and this is a general viewing tip, by the way, I guess for anybody, the Jug feed sent out by to ADWs or to us here at Yonkers, the simulcast is HD or is SD, and then the OHHA feed on Facebook, both of which, to be fair, are sponsored by the Jug, so we're promoting both, but that one's in HD. So I thought it'd be a little bit easier to call off my computer screen than the HD OHHA feed, but it is a couple seconds further behind, so that's probably why. I was idea. But
I'll say of the horses named in this race, it was a very good year. Not my favorite Frank Sinatra song. I don't think it's a good song. I'm gonna make that claim.
Wait, Ray, sorry to interrupt you. Hang on. And here comes accuracy by volume. Kevin Smith has finished.
Yeah, let's go visit some of the comments that have been coming in through the early parts of the stream. We caught up Brian Sandoval when we were going and talking about everything but racing. To Mike's chagrin, he wanted us to keep it up. He was a big fan of the nonsense. I also, Brian, am a huge fan of the nonsense. Barry Perry wanted to thank Kevin for making him look at that Woodbine race for that contest jockey thing. What happened to that race? Did that race go?
Yeah, it was 4-7. Give me the boots, and Emma Jane won.
Oh, so you won?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess Barry won.
Ray, on this next comment, I will offer 50-1 for that commenter for the next 5 minutes only.
Oh, you'll only offer him 50-1? You got to give him a better deal. You got to give him 500-1. At least make it worth his while.
Nijinsky was 2-5. If we're talking about the 17th race, Nijinsky was 2-5 and failed to make the final, so we will not see Nijinsky for a second time today. And again, Anthony Beaton has, what was expected to be the top two here. Obviously, Nijinsky and Legendary Hanover, and obviously, as we've discussed, quite honestly, not a great last hour for him, with one failing to make the final and the other kind of limping in at third. Is that fair to say?
I feel like that's a bit dramatic of an assessment, limping it. I mean, 30 seconds, you would be more of a crawl. Limping implies that there's something more wrong than just how the race set up and God knows whatever other things could have been going on. But I think what we should do, since we talked a lot about that second elimination, we've only dabbled on what exactly happened inside of the first elimination. So first and foremost, let's let everyone here know if they're just joining us, or to make it kind of more concise.
You can probably show the replays now, right? I mean, there should be no reason we can't show the replays.
I feel like there is a reason why we can't show the replays, but it's
why
because
they're replays.
Well, but I don't.
That's not a live feed.
I took intro.
I say we show the replays.
I took intro to law. Does it too. I took intro to law in my communications course, and I have the right to say it's murky.
Ray, based on what we've discussed and with what we've discussed and what Mike wasn't privy to, no, we are not showing replays. But I never saw the first limb, so I'm watching the replay myself right now. So
I don't understand why we can't show replays.
And so I want to
we'll discuss that offline if you like. Nobody else needs to listen to that conversation.
Okay.
So Albano has the lead past the quarter, right? So 26-3 at this stage. I guess I'm half calling this, half just randomly commentating it. So Captain Luke is kind of a loose pocket. So Nijinsky is third, and he's already kind of gapping there a bit.
Yeah, he went first up and folded.
Yep, they're at the top of the stretch now, the first time on my feed. So, right, going to be flushed out of fourth. So here comes Nijinsky first up. Half mile was 54-3. And, yeah, Todd without bottle looks very comfortable at this stage. I mean, again, obviously, there were concerns coming into this race given the break last time out. But, obviously, I think we saw quite a bit here in this limb to be positively pointed towards the final. And, again, I think Captain Luke, went off at 8-1. It wasn't like he was hopeless in this limb, and definitely with the good draw from the final, he could definitely pick up a big piece at this stage. Right, Nijinsky's first up, and, almost kind of like Legendary, just kind of stalling down the backstretch, and, at least for Legendary, he kind of found that other gear to come forward, but, right, I mean, eventually Nijinsky just totally drops out here, and Albano at the top of the stretch just kind of really
going
to the line.
Yeah.
Captain Luke, to be fair, Scott, and I chatted with him about it in the past. I think he's just a really good horseman when it comes to preparing horses for 2 heats in one day. I mean, again, I'm not saying he didn't want to win this limb, but I will say I don't really think he was asking Captain Luke for much there to just kind of hold second and just, so if you're looking underneath, let's put it this way, I would rather right now Captain Luke than Captain's Quarters, quite honestly, teach their own. But
no, I can agree with that too. And plus, I mean, you look at it from the driver's perspective in that way too. If you see Captain Albano is really that swelled up and pulling away, and you're very clearly going to hold second without having to ask your horse, why would you push them that extra step to lose by 2 lengths versus losing by 3 lengths, especially if you're coming back later in the afternoon? I think that's a fair case of conservative steer. On the one hand, Captain Luke, I don't think he's as good a horse as Captain Albano, but he definitely can work the right trip to get a good check. I mean, that's how Scott's been driving him all year. You look at how he drove him in the Meadowlands pace, launched him out of post 8 to sit close, and then he got a pretty decent chunk of the purse, finishing third.
So, Mike, let's spend a little bit of time on this 20th. So I think, Ray, are we in agreement here? Sorry to everybody listening. We're kind of, we're winging this on the fly. That's part of the fun. I think we can show those replays or the interviews that I have. We'll chat more about the Jug final after this one. But I think this 20th is intriguing, worth discussing here while we got time, right? I mean, they'll be on the track.
Yeah.
So Mike, I've been looking at this ever since it came out. And, I'm good and biased towards, everything that happens at Yonkers, because I work here. I see these horses all the time. So, I always want to root for our connections. But Tipsy Money, I knew she drew the rail. Look, the rail's golden in Delaware. We know that's a great spot to be out of the starting gate. But did she really deserve to be the morning line favorite? It's not showing right now on the board.
Yeah, I don't think so. 2-1 morning line versus these. She's 5-2 right now on the board. And I just think that there's others known commodities in here. War Wheezinha always seems to take money. Call Me Goo certainly is a Grand Circuit type horse. I don't know. Tipsy Money seems more like an invitational type, not really necessarily racing in the Grand Circuit right now. The trot there at Yonkers on the 7th really didn't race all that well. Now was wide in that spot, but ended up 7th. I realized Drew Perfect, Yannick Sticks. This is a different kettle of fish, though. I don't know. I just think that it's a tough race, but the post position will help her chances. I don't know. I disagree with the odds, but right now she's being bet into these horses. She's 5-2. The 2 and the 3 are both 2-1. War Wheezinha scratch, Call Me Goose scratch. So, that obviously makes a difference. So.
Well, I was about to touch on that too. I don't know about you guys, but when I see a race like this where most of the horses are bet pretty level, I find a hard time having any type of edge inside of the race or taking like a really stark opinion. Because on one hand, all the money is being spread. So if I have an opinion on a horse who should probably be a higher price, but they're getting that bet, they're getting bet because the race seems fairly open, then I'm betting into an underlay. And so I have less incentive to really try and hammer that down. But at the same time, you can also look at it as it's this wide open. And so then you could maybe make some room exotically, but you'd really have to take a stand, I feel like, inside of a race like this and try and hit it cold. It's tough to want to try and jump into a race where almost every horse is 2-1. We're going to bring Edison back in. Oh, we got the draw happening.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Captain's quarters draws the rail. Captain Albano gets post 2. Total Stranger post 3. Captain Luke post 4. Mirage Hanover post 5. Legendary post 6. Hunting for Chrome post 7. Sweet Beach Life post 8. And I want my credit that I wrote down every horse in perfect post position order before it even came out.
You get
that's like your ping pong bets. You can chalk it under how the hell can you have money on that?
That's like a 1 in 16 shot because I know that these two horses are going to be 1-2, but they could be either way. This is like 4 straight coin flips I got right. Come on, I deserve something for that.
How much money is Mirage going to take?
In that race, God.
Being a math major, Ed, you should know the odds of that. 4 straight coin flips.
Yeah, I said 1 in 16. It's like 1 in 16 chance. Well, okay, Kevin, I guess the question to ask you is, and to be fair, I'm firmly a believer in this, and maybe other people aren't, but do you believe that Albano's shorter than Captain's quarters? We can start there. Everybody should agree on that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is Captain Luke shorter than Captain's quarters? Because I believe so, but I'm open to disagreement. No. Okay. So we're putting him, at least in your mind, the quarter. Is Mirage shorter than Total Stranger, at least? I say yes.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So, okay, what's Mirage Hanover, the 4th choice? And at that point, I want to say like 8-9-1. Okay, let's ask the other question around what is Captain Albano at post that? Because I think at this stage, what we've seen so far, he's pretty short.
7-5?
Or
No,
maybe.
I think he's less. I think he's under even money.
Maybe.
I agree.
I'm gonna make a what if they do something they haven't done since Albatross? What if they bar him from the betting? Which is a real thing that happened. I know this because I watched the OHHA feed, and it was I don't know if it was Doug Ballinger or Frank Frost or I think Susan Schroeder's the other person that's on it. One of them mentioned that, and I was like, whoa, I never thought that would happen. A horse so good you're not allowed to bet him? That's like mob type stuff. You know?
That's the only reason? Just because he was going to be 1-20?
Yeah, he was going to be such a minus pool favorite that it didn't make sense to allow betting on him.
So wait, they didn't allow betting on him or betting on the race as a whole?
You couldn't bet on Albatross in the Little Brown Jug. If I heard them correctly, because it also seems so far fetched that is actually what happened, but it's possible. It's possible.
Mike, I think you have an opinion.
What, boring? That's not. I mean, come on.
No, for the
I
20th,
don't know what we're
for the
talking about.
20th race.
Yeah, for the Miss
The
Versatility.
20th. Oh, I mean, I think the 2 is pretty obvious. I think the 3 Tactical Mounts is more a Meadowlands lover. I realize it's a stable horse and the horse has a lot of class, but I do think the 2 is going to be tough to beat, especially off that last line. You know, Tipsy Money right now, I mean, 7-2. That's probably in line with where she should be in here. HP Mama B is more a big track horse. Yeah. So, I mean, right now, Derek Castle's 10-1. She hasn't been herself, but she certainly made plenty of money. Last time at Flamborough, that was a pretty low spot for that one, but did wake up, maybe got a little confidence. She's made $1 million. I mean, you could do worse in this race.
If Adair Castle had a better draw, I'd probably be more inclined to use her because even though she's made all that money, Mike, you wouldn't contest that her main game has always been she can get to the lead and then she can control things her way. And then she was just fast enough that she could always be better than her cohort.
Right.
That's how she was at 2. That's how she was at 3.
Mm-hmm.
She could win a race like this if she had a better draw, or if on the off chance James can blast her from all the way out there and get close. But otherwise, I think 3-1 isn't a bad price on Tipsy Money, just given how well she's been able to race over the smaller track. I don't know how tough necessarily the open trot division is at Yonkers. Ed probably would know more about that, but I feel like in a race like this,
I say this lovingly. Sorry to Garnett. I'm sorry to Robert Reed Jr. I know this hurts a like all she's had to beat in those opens is Warwick-Zenia.
If Warwick-Zenia was in this race, she'd be lower on the board. Guaranteed.
But that is an open-ended.
Race.
That was an open-ended statement. If you are named Garnett Barnsdale or Robert Reed Jr. and think Warwick-Zenia is the second coming, then Tipsy Money is great.
Still the second coming. Still.
If you have a different opinion,
I just think the 2, they're going to have a hard time beating the 2 to the front in this race, and that's going to make her very difficult, I think, to beat.
Yeah, I mean,
what's it with Ohio horses? Not even Ohio, but like what is it about this week that brings all the horses together, like the 2 and the 6, who are multiple word horses but no spaces?
I think it's specifically targeted at Roger. I think they're trying to push his tongue in the announcer's booth.
They had a horse named like Ohio Harry that was racing yesterday. I was like, oh, that's good.
I mean, Ed, you call races too. You know that when an owner names a horse something with no spaces and like all consonants, it's entirely personal against the announcer.
I think it depends how many letters it is. Like help of the season, you could put all the spaces there and be perfectly fine. If it's getting close to 18 characters or whatever, get it. But like that's not. Or is it? Actually, no. I guess it kind of is.
Yeah, you'd be pushing 15. It close.
You could have gotten spaces.
You could put a space between the words of the and then make them their own little island. Yeah, it's kind of like a name artistry.
That would at least do something. But yeah, no. Well, the money's really coming in right now. Nelson Wright Eagle is
makes sense. It's done.
6-5, 5-2. Tipsy Money Tactical Mounds 6-1. HP Mama B and right. The scratches, the 5 and the 8. To be fair, I think semi-significant because I mean I didn't love Post 8 obviously, but I do like Call Me Goo quite a bit as a horse. Warwick-Zenia, I would have been against, but she always takes money. So I mean that does theoretically skew. I think let's put it this way, it makes Tipsy Money shorter. She's 5-2 now. I think she would have been even higher in an 8-horse field.
I was going to say, I think the most interesting thing is seeing Ox Fenstead by Call Me Goo. That totally flew under my radar. I missed that September 6th line at the Meadowlands when she raced for him. Also because it's also just interesting to see. Ox, what?
Well, actually, you know what? This happens once in a while. This is actually a good question. And I'm assuming, Kevin, Mike, please interrupt me if somebody knows the answer to this from us here. So the USTA transfer process, sometimes it doesn't get totally eliminated. Call Me Goo is owned by the Graham Grace Stables, LLC, Virginia. That's the original owners. And Oka Sponstead Incorporated. So in my head, I guess for the last couple of days, I've been thinking Oka bought half of the horse. But that could also be the USDA accidentally leaving those old owners on her. Maybe he did just buy her outright. So
he could have just bought a piece. He might not have bought half. He could have just bought a piece.
He might have been able to just buy enough of a piece where then he would just take over training. I was just going to say it's
but those are Maryland connections, and knowing the way that they go with, since obviously I see those connections a lot down in Rosecroft in my time down in Maryland, I would think they sold the horse entirely to Oak. I don't think they would have sold half. I don't see them doing that.
It's also just funny, but as they're getting ready to go to the gate, if you watch Ox horses, he loves he loves Southwind Frank, he loves Goo Goo Gaga. He will buy every single horse from either of those two studs. So it's interesting that he just got this one It was a really fast Goo Goo Gaga mare. You're going to call this one, Ed?
You know what? Let's do it, Ray. You call the first and the third quarters. I'll call the second and the fourth because you'll be ahead.
All
of me.
right, yeah, no,
This
sounds good. Okay, well, it's giddy up time except for Tipsy Money. She's giddying up too hard. The rest of them off and trotting. Nelson Bright Eagle inheriting the lead as HP Mama B floats away into second. Gap about 2.5 lengths then to Tactical Mounds. And then another 4 to a rough gated help of the season, overtaken by Adair Castle. Is off stride goes HP Mama B from second to the first quarter. Nelson Bright Eagle left all alone, about a 3-length lead over Tactical Mounds. Adair Castle in third, and again about 5 lengths back to fourth. 27-4 the first quarter. His help of the season races fourth, and Ed's gonna have a whole lot of action to the half.
Well, war of attrition here. 2 breakers, 2 scratches. Nelson Bright Eagle was bet down to 4-5 ultimately. Tactical Mounds is second at 3-1. They're kind of the 2 big betting interests here. 1-2. Adair Castle, help of the season, third and fourth. And, the other 2 are off screen, and help of the season is gone. And actually, that wasn't even help of the season anyway, was it? Was that HP Mama B? Whichever one it was. Doesn't matter which one it was. We got 3 of them, Ray. 56-3 past the half. The favorites in front.
Tense moments here for Nelson Bright Eagle with half the field breaking. Will she be next? Tactical Mountains in the pocket. Adair Castle in third. Everyone else, Lord knows what they're doing, but I'm sure it's a fun time at the Delaware County Fair as Nelson Bright Eagle, Dexter Dunn looks behind and says bye-bye to 3 quarters and 125-2. She's pulling away, Ed.
She is, and Kevin Plauta has the 2 over 3-7 over 3-7 over 4 superfecta, and we don't even know who's fourth. They're so far back. It's Nelson Bright Eagle by 6 at the top of the strike. Tactical Mounds might have Adair Castle's measure for second and third, but who will be fourth to finish this super? We'll still never know. Nelson Bright Eagle is the winner by far of the Miss Versatility final. Nelson Bright Eagle cruises down to the line. Adair Castle, I believe, is going to get up for second from Tactical Mounds, and who, Ray, will be fourth? You can take over to the fifth quarter.
Tipsy Money?
That was not Tipsy Money. I believe it was HP Mama B.
Oh, I missed it because I had to turn a light on.
Well, we did say it was going to beat 2-7. I don't know if it was going to, I didn't know it was going to every horse so it had to break, but I mean certainly I think that 2-7 was pretty prominent in my selections.
Oh, I'm curious. Again, obviously I was on planes today. We know my travel. Kevin Plauta, you tweeted something that you liked 4 6s, and I think you won today in that 4 field of 3-5, and you said all these breakers. Did the other 3 actually truly all 4 broke?
I was gonna say, yeah, this is like almost the second time that's happened because yes, I think it was Vanguard. 1 horse made a break at the start for Todd, and then the 2 and 4 broke at other times during the race. So yeah, it was literally just 4 6s for like 3/8 of a mile. Vanguard caught back up, and it was just 3-1 the entire way around.
Would the other 2 have been in dangers if they stayed flat, or was it always just 4 6s anyway?
Well, he had a really nice driver change to Yannick. And he's one that I have liked in the past, so I was never going to go against him. I didn't like 3-5, but whatever. It was.
You were pretty hot today, though, with some of your tweets. I thought you were steering some good info.
Yeah, I mean it's nice when like in the past actually win.
Like inquiry signage. That
was one of the most impressive races I've ever seen from a 2-year-old, like ever. Last week, whenever he was parked for the mile at the Meta. In that.
And why is the inquiry sign up? Would you like to take a guess?
I'm not even going to listen to the feed. We're just going to safely assume it's looking at the breaking horses for compliance with the breaking rule. HP Mama B just kind of took that one weird step on approach to the opening quarter and came back trotting. It looked like fine the rest of the way, and I suspect she'll stay for fourth. The other 2, I guess we'll find out. I think we've reached the point where the judges just want to see how many inquiries they can get on the board this week in Delaware, Ohio. So, in fact,
well, they're not paid by the hour, are they?
Was there an inquiry in the Jugette yesterday? Technically, there probably was, right?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, of course there was.
They just want to have.
I feel like there have to
race.
be. Yeah.
If we even want to post it on the board, they at least had stuff to look at. So they've been busy. It definitely will not affect the winner, though. Obviously, he got out of there and rolled to the front, and she never looked back. Out of curiosity, this I don't know, Ray, maybe you, Mike, I don't know, somebody might have answered me. It's just always been the fact, I've always wondered, Miss Versatility final, age mare trot. I mean, you go all year at the Meadowlands and Mohawk and these big tracks. Who decides to come to Delaware, Ohio for the final?
That's how the race has been since its inception.
Yeah.
It's been one of those. It was like one of the travelings, because back years ago they used to have like the classic series that would travel and stuff like that. Then eventually the Miss Versatility was the only series left that traveled from track to track. The Graduate kind of took that on. Meadowlands hosting legs and Mohawk hosting legs. And pretty much Miss Versatility is now down to that. Miss Versatility used to have legs at like Tioga and Vernon, the other Goral tracks. I think it's a Goral sponsored race.
There's been some nice horses come to Delaware and win this race, though.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think mares of the past that have won this race.
Didn't Manchego come one year?
I thought Manchego broke the year she came, because she was in a really good class of trotting mares. I'm pulling up Pathway now to remember.
Hey, Ray, sorry, as we figure this out in real time, I don't know how I share this to you, but I would like you to put this link in the Facebook or in the comment section for all of our stuff. We do have, and if either of you
the PPs,
right? We do have a PP page for the final. So,
and it is safe for work. You hear PP page? It's safe for work. Trust us on this.
So it says, that's been sent, Ray. So you should have that via email, and that'd be good.
You just emailed it to me?
It's always nice, quick work from our charters and everybody else. We do have even the past performance lines, obviously the right post positions, the correct past performance lines from the recently ran eliminations, and we do get a morning line, which I believe is always computer generated out there. And fun fact, Legendary Hanover is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Mirage Hanover is the second choice at 4-1. Second choice is Captain Albano 4-1. Captain's Quarters is 9-2. Mike, what's the max stake you're going to let me get on Captain Albano at 4-1?
Oh man, I mean, if you can get 4 right now, it's 3-5 on the board. I mean, come on. I mean,
I was gonna just say back to the Ms. Versatility. Man, I was right about because Manchego did show up to the Ms. Versatility, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the years either she encountered Plunge Blue Chip, who was Atlanta. The horse I was remembering. Oh, was it the Atlanta year?
Yeah.
Okay, and then When Doves Cry was in between.
Atlanta, yeah, that's right.
Went Brett Pelling. Yeah, but I mean, the mare trotting division used to be so stacked. And then it's just kind of been waiting. All the older divisions are kind of just waiting for that next good horse to come through, because just the last few years have been loaded with such good horses.
To be fair, too, like a lot of the mares have been going against the boys. I mean, that's the thing. They're racing against the boys the most. I mean, so that makes a huge difference. That used to not be the case. So
no, that's true. Like when I was first getting in like 2010, it was rare to see even a horse like Buckeye St. Pat want to try against the boys. She just went and dominated her own kin. But that's just, it's become kind of out of necessity though with some of these mares, because they're so good and there's only so much money to make in strictly the mare trots. But the open trotting division, if you have one that can compete with that, there's $500,000 races almost every other week on the Grand Circuit for them to go.
So right now, 19 minutes to post. Do we want to play some of Edison's really solid interviews before we start to do some jug analysis?
We will, but I just want to ask you, Mike, before we get there, or somebody, just because we're getting a very quick look at the early look on these odds. Legendary Hanover, 9-2 on the board right now. Obviously, none of us are particularly thrilled with what we've seen from the beaten horses in the eliminations, but it has to be said, we know what he's done this year. So, Mike, this is kind of the question that Ray got asked by PTF a while back, but, I'll bring it back again, and this is with a real-world example here. I mean, if you like Legendary, 1-5 in the elim, I mean, is there a number you're willing to come back with him here in the final, or have you truly seen enough in the elim that you just don't want him?
I personally wouldn't want him, but if you like him, you're going to get, right now, he's 9-2. I do think he'll probably settle around 2.5 to 1, depending on how much money Albano takes in this race. If you like him, I think most people would really salivate over that. If it's raced in a vacuum, you would love those odds, but this is at Delaware. He's got an outside post. Really didn't look like he was very, much liking the racetrack in the elimination. I mean, really had no excuse whatsoever. So I don't know. I mean, do you want him? I don't. I think he's a takeout reducer here, and that just brings the value up on Albano in this race. If you can catch even money on him, I do think that that's value. Similar to this past race where it looked like the 2 would be value, even though it was 4-5. The horse was never losing. So, I mean, did it help that half the field broke? Yeah, but the horse was on the front despite all that and was never losing that race. So if you think Captain Obono's value at even money, it's subjective to everybody. I don't want him. I don't want Legendary in this race. If you like him, you'll get your price. So be my guest.
You'll get your price.
So Ray, are you prepared to do these interviews in any order, or you got them teed up one way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, you tell me who to pull up. I'll pull up.
Well, let's give everybody the change for the card, and we'll do the interview with that, which is to say Matt Kakaley. Well, I talked to him yesterday. He had his choice, obviously. His goal was to get both these horses to the final. He did just that. He'll take Sweet Beach Life, host 8. So Chris Lems will pick up a drive on Hunting for Chrome. That's the Travis Alexander trainee duo. And let's start Matt Kakaley. Had to say yesterday about the 2 that he drove in the Elims. Edison Hatter here with driver Matt Kakaley ahead of the 2024 Little Brown Jug. Matt, we got a pair to discuss, starting with the 5 Hunting for Chrome in that first elimination. How have the year been with him?
Yeah, he's ever since he's gotten to Travis's barn, he's stepped his game up. He rattled off some good wins in the New York Sires, and he had a tough trip in the final. I didn't drive him, but he had a tough trip. He didn't really like that. He's been good. Middle of the car's okay. He has been good, so I'm hoping for a little luck.
And obviously he's had a lot of time spent in New York, but has to be some confidence from that Meadowlands win there against Open Types, Meadowlands Pace weekend.
Yeah, he was super that day. James drove him, but he was super. The races at like Batavia and stuff, like he kicked home 26-3. He was phenomenal. The half-mile track might help him a little bit because he does get around a half super, so he might have a little bit of a advantage that way. But he's been super, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully we have a little luck.
Second elimination, Sweet Beach Life. Unfortunate post-draw, but nice beneficiary there of Captain Albano's miscue to win the PA Sire Stakes.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if I wasn't going by him anyway. My horse was super that day. He made a move at Pocono that you don't see. I was, 7th at the half, and I was right alongside him at the 3/4 pole. He made a huge move. That horse, for a piece, he can fly. So, another bad draw for him. That seems like his, that's his forte right now. He's just got a lot of bad luck with the draw, but he's super sharp, and I'm very confident with him. So hopefully the race can set up for him too.
So Matt, you had these 2 kind of as choices per se in the Adios elimination. You ended up with Sweet Beach Life. Is that kind of the way you might be leaning here, or to be determined tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we got to get them both in the final first, and then we'll see how it looks and how the draw shakes out and stuff. We'll just see how it comes. I'd lean towards Sweet Beach Life. I have a great relationship with the owners and stuff like that. So I might lean that way if they're similar, but we're going to go by the draw and everything like that.
Well, thanks, Matt, and best luck.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to guess he didn't go by the draw.
Well, to be fair, post 7 versus post 8, not great. Mike, I still find that interview interesting because, you've watched me interview and other people interview these guys enough. It's almost consistent that you're going to get that kind of hedge of like, we'll see how it goes, everything works out. So I just kind of found it. Look, it might not have been that interesting of a choice. I think Sweet Beach Life has generally been Matt's choice, and that's obviously when he ends up with the Adios Elim. But kind of interesting to actually hear somebody just early on just say it. Yeah, no, that's probably where I'm going to go.
Yeah, I like that. That was, he was very candid there. Has solid relationship with certain connections, and a lot of these guys do, and so that means a lot. Whether the horse, especially if it's a coin flip or a horse, maybe it might be 50-50. You're going to go with your friends or where you have better relationships with, and it's nice. I think it's more refreshing to not sit on the fence, but say, listen, like this is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. The horse was great at Pocono, things like that. I like Sweet Beach Life in the Adios. I think he's interesting in this race, especially the way that final quarter went and that second elimination when they're walking home. This horse didn't exactly have to do much work in that elimination. So I'm interested in Sweet Beach Life. I have been all season, though. I do need him to drift up, though. 12-1 is probably a little short.
Yeah, Kevin, surely we got to see him. He opened, I think, 8-7-1, up to 9-1, 12-1 post stage. Surely he's got to drift up there, right? I think some people we've mentioned, someone there in the comments as well, liking him as a long shot in this race, but surely we got to be looking to get a better price than this underneath, right?
Yeah, you'll probably get upwards of 20, and I think that's fair. Just curious to see how Mirage continues to take money. Mirage Hanover, he was up at about like 13-1. Now he's down at 9-1. I liked him. I liked the way the Dex drove him. Now, obviously, he got a conservative drive from the outside, but When he saw that Nijinsky wasn't going anywhere, America was behind him, he pulled inside and then was able to get back wide for that drive home. And he just missed second by, one stride maybe, two. And then we might even be having a different. He drew post 3 instead of post 5. But, maybe a better thing for him because he could even find some cover from a horse like Captain Luke.
Disappointment yesterday for Dexter Dunn in the Jugette with My Girl EJ. Kind of seems rare for him to have 2 unlucky big races in a row. So I think we might be hearing from him in this race. We'll find out. But someone we're going to hear from now, let's go to Captain Luke's connection, driver Scott Zeron, who, I don't know, I think we'll find out from the interview. I think he had an okay year in Delaware, Ohio last year. Edison Hatter with driver Scott Zeron ahead of the 2024 Little Brown Jug. And, Scott, let's go to last year first. I'm sure you're happy to be back to Delaware, Ohio, where you won last year's Jugette and Jug.
Yeah, a lot of great memories. I mean, won a couple of the Jugs, so it's fun memories coming back here.
So it seems like you've got a little bit of experience with the heat racing here. How do you like it compared to, I guess, what we see every day?
The heat racing, I think, is the true test to see who the best horse really is. I mean, I wish the handball went back to the heat racing to do that format, but I understand why we haven't, but I do enjoy coming back to it here.
So as a driver, how do you have to balance, obviously, unique post positions here as well, the top finishers getting those inside posts. How do you balance racing well in the first limb, but kind of saving a little something for the second?
It's something that actually took me a little bit to learn. I mean, you learn it the hard way, which is you want to win the limb so bad so you could draw well, but then there's a give and take of how much you've asked your horse in elimination to ask it an hour later to come excel even more than that. So, you would like to win under nice and easy conditions, but post position is a big deal if your horse isn't extremely quick out of the gate too, so where you could risk drawing 3 or 4 for the final.
Well, Scott, let's talk a little bit about the horse you have in this year's Little Brown Jug. Captain Luke, last 2 starts, the Hemp Consolation there at Pocono, and you weren't driving, but a lifetime mark in that Open at Lexington. Looks like he's really pieced it together in the last 2.
Yeah, he's honestly just such a pleasure to sit behind. He's extremely robotic, does everything you ask. You can start him up, stop him, and unfortunately the rail horse is scratched, so for our sake we get to draw the rail now and kind of dictate the pace going out of there.
Yeah, so is that part of the plan then to leave now with the rail draw?
Yeah, he's extremely quick out of the gate. If I want to cut the mile, he can cut the mile. He's that good, and if I choose to follow somebody, we'll see tomorrow.
Well, thanks, Scott, and best of luck.
Thank you.
That was Scott. Worth noting, he was saying the exact thing we were talking about the heat racing specifically, and even about Captain Luke specifically, when he was well beaten by what's-his-face Hanover. That's not his name. The Captain Albano. You're going to want to lose by 2 lengths or 3 lengths. You're going to overexert to give chase, or when you're an easy second, you're going to take second. I feel like Captain Luke stands an okay chance inside of this race. I mean, you look back a couple years ago, another horse, Tony Alagna, was able to win the Jug with Captain Barbosa and Joe Bongiorno, one under circumstances that might be able to happen inside of this race, because Captain Barbosa, if you remember, was sitting off of a speed duel between 2 horses. I can't even remember, but that was typically his game, was trying to capitalize off of other people's misfortune. And with how this race sets up, and you especially watch how Jody sent Captain's Quarters to the lead, do we not think that Albano getting post 2 versus post 1 against Captain's Quarters could make that first quarter, maybe even to the half, very hot? Because I don't think Jody's going to let go. I don't think he's going to want to let Captain Albano go. But it also depends on how much of horse he has.
Do you remember the Luz Pearlman Little Brown Jug? That was truly one of the best races, right, against Perfect Sting. Like, I think you could see something again here. That's why it's beautiful at the Jug. No passing lane. You have to make decisions early. And to be fair, I think we were set up for a race like that yesterday. In fact, Dexter was trying to make it happen until obviously equipment issues came in. But, you knew Soft Shot was getting out of there. You knew Dave was not letting her go, period. So what you have to do? Probably pull the pocket before the half. So I guess Todd is for sure going to give it a go off of the gate. And, maybe Captain's Quarters takes one rough step or, gets caught in the turn a little bit. If he can get over, he'll take it. But there is definitely a universe where he's forced to set the pocket and pop it before the half. And let's see him go around.
Yeah, I wonder that too, just because, you think back to also the North America Cup and how Todd gave him that pocket ride, but then never got out. You have to imagine that Todd's not going to let this horse get locked, just given what's happened before and how the racing luck has unfolded before. So I I mean, I don't know. There is a possibility that Captain Albano is somewhat faster off the gate than Captain's Quarters, but just given how this race is drawn, I'm not going to leave out of the realm of possibility something quirky happening. And of course, like Captain Luke, is going to just be trying to sit off of the speed and capitalize if things get a little too hot up front.
Well, speaking of
isn't Captain's Quarters like the key to the race though, really? Because
100%.
He has the rail. He's shown the ability to get the front here, and I'm sure Captain Albano is going to want to control it. I know you think he's the ultimate pocket horse, but at Delaware, that's not necessarily always the place to be. I don't know. I would think that he would probably want to control this race. I mean, I think Captain's Quarters is absolute key to the race. What Jody decides to do off the gate is going to dictate what everybody else does. Because if he sits, then you get the 3, you get the 4 involved early. Even Mirage Hanover can blast away from the gate. I mean, there's a ton of speed in this race. This could get very, it could get very wild early. I could see them running, going 1, 2, 4 of them lining up on the front and setting it up for a closer. And what does Legendary do also? I mean, is he going to be involved from the 6th post? I mean, he tends to want to sit back a lot of times, but I don't know. It's going to be this is going to be a wild final. I don't think that it's as easy as the 1 and 2 here. This is going to be a very interesting race.
Well, while we've got the opportunity, we'll continue our discussion on the race afterwards, but I guess we should try to get our third and final interview out there as soon as we can. So we have Captain Albano with Todd McCarthy. Obviously, going into the eliminations today, a little bit of concern. That line from Pocono in the PA Sires X final made a break around the final turn. Obviously, I had to ask Todd about that. But based on his elimination performance, we seem to be past that issue. So let's hear what else he had to say about Captain Albano.
Matter here with driver Todd McCarthy ahead of 2024 Little Brown Jug. Todd, I guess first things first, obviously, Captain Albano. Talk us through what happened past 3 quarters last time.
I really don't know. He kind of didn't give me much time leading up to it, and he kind of just jumped it off there in that turn. But he's had issues before with that turn there at Pocono, so I'm really hoping that's all it was, and we can move forward from that.
So since then, no concerns at all out of that race?
No. Like I say, he's done it there before, and he's come out and it hasn't affected him on any other size track. So I think it was just a bad step for him on the day there, and like I say, that turn's been a little tricky.
Obviously, a unique race setup here. So with your experience with Captain Albano, any concerns for him getting the 2 heats?
No, I don't think so. He's a pretty strong little horse, and I don't think that'll faze him at all. He carries himself well, and he seems to always pull up pretty good after a race. So I'm pretty sure he'll be able to turn around and go again if we get the chance to.
Post 6 for him in the first elimination. How do you see things going early?
A lot of speed. I mean, that's sort of how it looks to play out here. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll try and be a part of it somewhere there. But it's one of them things that we just got to wait and weigh it up and take it as it comes.
Well, thanks, Todd, and best of luck.
All right, thank you very much, Todd.
He's a very handsome man. He's incredibly handsome. I just want that on the record.
Out of this? Like, what do you what?
I just want that on the record.
Wait, Ray, you can contribute to the conversation. So obviously, Hamiltonian Week. I host the Clyde Hurd Journalism Workshop along with Garnett Barnsdale and Ace Barnsdale and Debbie Little and the rest of our Ushwins. And our students this year became enamored with Yannick. Yannick was the crush of the year here. But somebody unnamed, actually I can name her, she doesn't care. Debbie Little said, "You gotta go meet Todd McCarthy. He's much cuter." So is that what you're going with more than Yannick?
I mean, look, no offense to Yannick. He could be a movie star in his own right too. But Todd's got all the feet. If he wasn't a harness driver, he very easily could be one of those guys where you put on a Netflix series and you go, "Oh, who's that on the leading role?" He's got that look. But instead he's a really good harness driver.
Well, our charter at Yonkers is beside me here. Kenny, do you agree with that? Kenny was laughing at you, surprised. So I think he either agrees or disagrees.
Look, he's just afraid to say someone else is handsome.
If you could have somebody drive for you, Kenny, who would it be?
Dexter.
I hate to say it, but Gingrich.
Oh, he would take Yannick. He'd take Yannick to drive.
Wait, but hold on, did he call him Gingras?
Close enough.
Gingras.
Gingras, close enough. I've called Yannick like 3 different things in interviews before.
It's okay. Roger had the hardest time pronouncing Luke Wallet's name, so it's fair enough.
Well, we've got 4 minutes.
Oh, he was calling Louis Waugh.
I started that the first time. Oh, wow.
We have 4 minutes to post. It's never quite a guarantee they'll be rigged up and ready to go by post time. We should be coming up shortly. I'll say it last year. Last year, if you recall, I believe we had 25 races on this day. I was out there in person. And, the last race went close this time. You can see on the infield shot we're showing right now there with the judges stand and the very clearly marked Roger Houston's announcer's booth. The shadows. It's getting dark. It was very close to dark last year. I think the race last year went after 7. This year, the board is going to show like 6:50. Assuming they actually come out then, a couple minute drag, we're going to get pretty close to 7. So, this is always kind of getting dicey. And speaking of which, we're getting ready to go here at Yonkers. So at some point, I'm going to have to jump off and do my opening. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to let you all know. I'll try to jump back in. We're just going to kind of see how this goes. I might have to call the first race even in the middle of all this if they take a while here at Delaware. So this is going to be fun to see how it goes. But
sunset is officially at 6:59, I think, tonight. It's before 7.
I know it is here at Yonkers because John Piasek was announcing tonight and said that this is the last race at 7 o'clock before the official sunset. So that happened like last week. So
fact that the horse players wanted to know.
Yeah, we're getting tons of information about like handsome men and sunsets and all this stuff. Meanwhile,
okay, fine, Mike. Here's the question for you. We'll go back to dissecting this race. So, if you're Todd, again, let's include everything we've seen. So at this point, looking purely to this final, I mean, how hard are you willing to go to get past captain's quarters? If he makes even a half second of a hesitation, something, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, at least in my opinion, I just don't want captain's quarters out of this elimination. So regardless of what the price is, I feel like slamming him in the pocket past the quarter and slamming him on the brakes the second quarter, if I can do it without going like 24 and something, I kind of say do it.
I think.
How much does he have? How much does captain's quarters like? I know that he's going to be guns blazing because there's no other option. But
they're parading, by the way.
26 flat, 54 flat to the half with a horse that was parked outside of him. So it was a pressured 54 to the half. And I know the captain's quarters only, he seemingly only has one decision. Jody seemingly only has one decision. But how much is he really going to have?
I'm good. I should note this is an important handicapping angle. When they stepped out onto the track, I think Jody Jamieson had a massive smile. So maybe he feels good. As that's all I gathered so far. I'm going to be watching him in the post parade to see if he
some
looks...
ace handicapping angles.
look, Handy.
On Captain Luke. I'm out on Captain Luke.
Why?
I don't know. He's
11-1.
One that you could.
Albano looks beautiful. Oh my God.
One that you could keep for 4th.
Albano looks really.
He does look good. He does look
way
real
better
good
than captain's quarters. Oh, okay. And then, so here's Total Stranger. I also want nothing to do with Total Stranger. He was a play in the elimination, just given that he was going to beat double digits. But this is a tough spot for him.
He has a ton of early speed, though. He could shake this race up. Don't sleep on him shaking the race up. Maybe not.
I don't think
he might not win, but he can shake it up.
You're not wrong, because I think back to the North America Cup elimination when he was able to blast out of there in 25 and change. So you're right. He does have gate speed. Here comes Captain Luke. He's holding himself well, heads up high. He's getting into his stride. Yeah, I'm just trying to see how they kind of carry themselves, because captain's quarters he looked a little lopey, but that was just him coming out onto the track. I didn't really get to see him moving. Captain Luke does look good too, and Tony Alagna has been really good at being able to get these horses back for the second heat. Mirage Hanover also doesn't really look like he had a whole lot taken out of his sails. Legendary, I forgot he's a big horse. He's got a little bit of a belly. You see that? Yeah, he's a little bit of a belly guy. He also is looking okay.
Yeah, just okay.
Yeah, we're not really gauging anything that's groundbreaking so far from the post parade. Beyond,
no, I think Albano's looked best out of all so far. I mean, that's my opinion.
5.
What about the 5?
He just ticked down to 3 to 5. Albano.
Oh yeah, probably all the confirmation handicappers just caught wind. Hunting for Chrome, he was being a little kind of antsy up front.
He looks a little bit.
He looks hot.
Little warm.
He's a little washed. 18 to 1. Honest, at least from what I'm seeing right now, I don't really know how much I like either Alexander horse.
Yeah, I like the 8 as a horse, but I'm not on this post parade as I'm not so sure.
Captain's Quarters is carrying himself a little better.
I like the 2
outside of the parade.
Except like the whole handicapping panel on the feed does. So
honestly, going all captain trifecta, that's not a bad play. That's not a bad play inside of this race, possibly. I
think Captain's Quarters actually looks better on the track. He looks fine. He looks nice and relaxed. He looks excellent. He's I know he didn't finish up that it didn't fly home that back half in the elimination, but he looks very well.
Yeah, he doesn't really look too tired.
I wanted to add something about Captain Luke, and I know I'm really harping on a 12-1 shot, which doesn't really make any sense, but you guys were talking like about his trip and how he could just sit off of it. So like, if he's like just sitting off of it, then he's going to come first over. And I don't know if he's much of a threat in that spot. I don't know if the trip works out.
What if he ends up behind Legendary though? I'm of the opinion here that there's a possibility that maybe there's some horses that don't see the wood in this race. I think they're going to be going at it quite early. Mm-hmm. So.
That was my initial thought between Captain's Quarters and Captain Albano, that just setting the stage for that type of race.
The old wiggle it, jiggle it type, jug. Right. Where, I could see that very, very much so.
This is a really interesting final. I think this is going to be a really good race.
But the 3-year-old pacing division has always been that because, even though Legendary Hanover's been able to go in 46 and Nijinsky's been as good as he has been, welcome back, Edison. The 3-year-old pacing crop is still deep. You got Captain Albano as a good horse. Captain Luke on an off year would probably be a division leader. Captain's Quarters too. Like this is just a year where it's packed with really good horses. Right. And that makes a final like this competitive then. And on top of that, could it even help horses that might not be able to be the cream that rises to the top in the event that they pummel each other to death?
Would you
figuratively?
Say the cream of the creme?
Cream of the creme is famously.
Lots of people watching. Actually, we have lots of people watching right now, so we appreciate that and enjoying our coverage. Hopefully, you're watching the feed here as well.
Betting along.
0 minutes to post.
I do not like Sweet Beach
Life. Really, I don't know. That's not the best warm up I've seen from this horse.
But by the way, I'm sorry. I don't know if we covered this topic further, but I found it, so I just have to discuss. I did find the article. It's official, by the way. 1971 Little Brown Jug with Albatross. Officials decided that they would lose money instead of profiting on the betting. They couldn't take the financial risk. They barred wagering on him in the jug. There was no way Albatross could lose, they said. He's humbled his foes in race after race this season, and he cannot lose. He won his elimination. He lost the final. Go figure.
Horse player's story. That is the horse player's story, though.
A lot of people don't know, too, with the jug. It used to be they would run 3 heats. So if a horse that didn't win one of the eliminations won the final, then they would have a race off. So they would have another race where the horses that won the 2 eliminations and then the final would race off.
But that would depend. That would depend if there were only 2 eliminations. Because there were 3 eliminations and 3 different winners, they would have a 4th heat.
So, but that's what they used to do.
I believe that is also the case in this race, by the way, because the winner was not one of the elim winners. The other elim winner was not the one that won the other elim did not end up winning the final and beating Albatross. So I believe they had to do that year too. So that's always amazing. We were obviously raised discussed with PTF today the fact that with our breed, you being able to race 2 times here in an hour, let alone trying.
You're getting ready to go, by the way.
Imagine thoroughbreds that do it, how many ever times. But here we go. All right.
I really don't mind 8-1. That's the.
Are we gonna let Kevin Plowcher call this one, right?
Mirage Hanover 8-1.
I don't mind him.
I don't know. I think Captain Albano 4-5. If you like him.
Yeah, if we're going, the best horse is going to be able to prevail. I think Captain Albano is reasonable, but if we're looking at this somewhat rationally and thinking it's going to be a bit of a fight, for lack of a better term, I do like Captain Luke at 13-1.
All right, well, let's play the fun game. I think, Ray, we've already discussed this. I'll semi-call the race, but get some thoughts from you all in the middle of it, too. By the way, they do this in Sweden on a lot of their big days, is have a commentator, like the caller's calling, and then all of a sudden, all right, Ray, what do you think? We've got half a mile to go. That's great. Don't let me keep calling.
I like it. I don't know why, but I like that.
Okay, so Ray, are you confidently saying that Albano is not on the lead of the quarter? Okay, who's on the lead of the quarter, and what's the time, Ray?
I'm thinking Captain Albano gets the lead 26 flat.
Mike, do you agree it's the lead, or is it going to be quarters?
I think he's going to try. I'm curious if quarters can leave, he might park him.
Well, we're going to find out. Here we go. They are behind the gate. The gate is into the stretch, and we are off. And Albano is trying to leave. Captain's quarters does have inside position. He's about to head down, but he is definitely defending the inside. And far outside, Mirage Hanover was the other one who tried to leave. Going to be stuck out there wide around that first turn, though. So Captain's quarters does have the lead. Mike, though, are we going to get a pop here? Or is he going to sit there? He's going to sit, isn't he?
Mirage lost.
No pressure right now, so I would say, I mean.
Mirage has probably lost. He's parked now. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but he is parked. It's never a great spot to be here. That's where my horse was last year. I forget who I liked, but he was parked there too. 20.
I mean, right now, Albano's getting perfect. Perfect.
How about 27-2, Ray? Are we surprised at the time?
I mean, if Jody's not going to have anyone challenging him, that's reasonable.
Now, Mirage, Mike, is still parked there on the outside, or I'll throw it to Kevin. Kevin, Mirage is still parked there on the outside. When's Todd going to have to go here?
Right
now.
He's out, yeah.
Yeah.
So Todd's in the pocket. Todd's kind of half in, half out. So Todd's officially popped it. This is why we love the jug. He's going to have to pop the pocket before the half, and the half is 55-2, so 28 seconds.
But he's not committing. He's taking as long as
he's half in,
can.
half out still.
Well, remember, Mirage has been parked a mile so far, so how much more does he have left? Todd might get the advantage. He gets to kind of sit here a bit more. So Captain Quarters is in front. Captain Albano, they're past 5/8, and Albano is now fully committed to the outside. Mirage Hanover's hanging tough despite this tough trip. Total Stranger's the one at the inside fourth, and where's Legendary at this stage? Is he third over at this point? They approach three quarters, 1:22-4, and Captain's Quarters the inside, Captain Albano the outside. How big of a mile is Mirage Hanover going? He's still there.
Oh, look at Albano.
I think
over.
Albano's pretty confident.
Oh, he's blowing away. He's gone.
Over. Captain Albano at the top of the stretch by 3. Mirage Hanover's up in the second. He's going to be second in this race, isn't he?
Mirage.
How about this mile for Mirage?
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't parked, I don't think he could challenge Albano. Albano cruised, but still 150-1.
Wow.
Now I was trying to get a good grip on the body language of Albano, because you could see that he was out sprinted to the first turn and Todd took him back. And sometimes when horses get that kind of shuffly in the pocket, it's either because they're going slower than they want to, or it also means they're not traveling, and that could be a sign of a problem. But as the race went on and Todd was very clearly trying to keep Dexter in his rear and try to keep him in that specific spot to preserve his lane, right. It was clear Captain Albano was just toying with him,
just waiting. Yeah,
Kevin Michael work together again next year for the Adios on desk. I'm going to say that at some point. You quote me. Oh, Captain Luke's kind of getting shuffly. I don't really like that.
Where did he finish? Where did Captain Luke finish?
Yeah, I thought he was in the spot that Total Stranger was in, but Scott got into a terrible position.
Legendary was third, by the way. So we have Captain Albano, Mirage Hanover, Legendary Hanover, a photo for fourth, 2, 5, 6. And let's do Super I-5 wagering on the jug here. So we're waiting on these next two numbers.
I think that's a good question.
We're watching the replay too in slow mo.
Yeah, I think if Scott got away where Dan was able to, Captain Luke finishes better. But Scott leaves with this horse all the time, and there's sometimes I think it's a good move. There's sometimes I think that's a really dumb move. And in a race like this, his aggression forced him into a spot that got him into the shuffle. So not to what Kevin said, the trip didn't work out for him from the draw, but it wasn't the first over. It was it was just his options were so limited to escape a bad trip.
Total Stranger fourth, Hunting for Chrome fifth, 2, 5, 6, 3, 7. And by the way, I'm sorry, I wanted to be transparent, but you all know me. You know how I like to bet, and so you're going to believe this even after the fact. But yeah, I'd loaded up the TVG accounts here in the background. I mean, the price on Albano was looking good at even money, even 4 to 5. Don't love 3 to 5, but yeah, I took Albano.
Well, yeah, you made him 3 to 5.
Probably. He was the best.
You probably did make him 3 to 5.
All right, I got a post break to go call here for the first.
No, I agree. Listen, Ed, I agree that was value on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Agree with my 3 to 5 for once, though.
Yeah.
Mirage second.
I thought 4 to 5 was value on that horse in this race. The way it was drawn and the way the race figured to go, there was. And if you really don't like Legendary, I mean, there was nobody that was going to beat this horse in this race.
Nope. I mean, Ray, Mike, Kevin. Good luck. Hopefully we all gave him good money. We will all be back together, I guess, in a couple weeks for the Red Mile. There's all the other content this week on the Ray. I'll let you say all the usual stuff. So,
yeah. At this point, the show is done. We know the winner of the race. It is Captain Albano. If you want the winner of the, what's happening? Everyone's just talking at once. We're not going to keep streaming because if we were to just stream, it would be to the 2025 Little Brown Jug, and that's obviously a year away, and I got other things to do, as I know all of you do. So as Ed said, we have more stuff coming up in the harness world, on the harness side and in the money media. Of course, October 6th, that's a Sunday, we're going to have live coverage similar to what we did here, but for the Kentucky Futurity at the Red Mile, the final leg of Trotting's Triple Crown down in Lexington, Kentucky. And that's a gangbusters card too, with, the Alaraj Stakes for the open horses, the Tattersalls for the 3-year-old pacers, every horse of every division pretty much coming together for big money fights on that day. But for now, I'm Ray Catolo. He's Mike Pribozzi. He's Kevin Plaucha. And Ed Hatter was Ed Hatter. He is no more. Now he's the track announcer at Yonkers. Thank you for joining along with us. Hopefully,
couple things. Catch our live stream for Caesar's Trotting Classic that was recorded last night. You can still catch the replay on YouTube. So that race card at Hoosier is tomorrow night. Murray Slaw and I did a Harness Players podcast, the audio version. So check that out for Fraser Friday, Mohawk Saturday. Tons of stuff on the In the Money Media Network for Thoroughbred and Harness. And check that out. Go to Contest Jockey. Get in on that Fraser contest too for Friday night. But stick with us. We appreciate the viewership, and we had a blast here. So see you guys next time. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Kevin.
That's it for Little Brown Jug. And for now, as Pete Fornatale says, may you win all of your photo finishes. Though if we're being realistic, let's just say most of them. Because sometimes when you lose them, it makes the ones you win feel better. I made your catchphrase better, Pete. Okay, see ya, everybody.